what is it that's happening in the online world that might be scarier to a small business owner, especially a coach or a consultant that isn't super tech savvy, than Y2K was for all of us back in 1999? So I know I'm aging myself a little. That's okay. I was an adult in 1999, and there was all this hype, and it ended up kind of being nothing. All the patches were in place. It wasn't a big deal. So before I dive in to Google Analytics 4 and what has everybody all nervous about their analytics and tracking, I just want to say welcome. I'm Penny Kelly with Marketing Profit School. I'm the founder here. I am also the Chief Profit Catalyst and Prosperity Cultivator. I help small businesses grow. I specifically help coaches and consultants add $5,000 to $50,000 in monthly revenue to their business, simplifying and streamlining what they're offering and really dialing in their offers so they're completely irresistible to their audience. So let's dive back in to what we're talking about today. Now, when I first came online and first started my business, I built my own WordPress website. I've built several since then. And I took a course to do this, and part of it was setting up Google Analytics so you knew which blog posts were getting traffic, what things were working with organic, or if your paid ads were working, how they were working, all of those things. And I'm not even going to get into UTMs and campaign tracking and all that today. This is just very basic, high level sort of understanding what's working in your marketing that I want to talk about. This is where a lot of people get allergic to tech. And I will be the first to say, I am not a coder. I don't write code. I don't do any develop or any of that kind of stuff. I don't speak those languages. I've seen some really cool demonstrations in ChatGPT. I'm not going to risk it. I work with other people when I have those really big projects to get done. But I do maintain my own Google Tag Manager, and I set Google Analytics up on my own sites. Most of the tools I work with have tracking interfaces so that they make an API connection with Google Analytics. Most of them are currently only supporting Universal Analytics, which is what we've all been using since like the mid 2000s. So we've had this version for over 15 years. It's been very stable. And there's a big reason for the change, and that is consumer privacy. So maybe you remember back in 2021 when everybody freaked out and Facebook ads stopped working because of the iOS 14.5 changes. And that's where people could turn off their tracking and protect their privacy. That is going to continue to be an issue as more and more countries and more states in the US enact privacy laws that prevent or allow a consumer the option to turn off third-party tracking or third-party cookies. And that's how all the crazy, creepy ads from like you went to one page on one site and it followed you around for a month and a half. And look, we still do that. We can still track people around and like show up in their newsfeed and all that, but not to the degree that we could 5 years ago. And I think a lot of people abused this. They sold the data. There was a lot of messiness going on. I believe that anytime we're using free social media platforms, ads are going to be part of that equation. So I would rather have tracking and see ads that are relevant to me than turn off all the tracking and just see some random BS ads showing up in my newsfeed because I'm going to see ads anyway. So I'd rather than be ads for things I actually may care about. So that's just my 2 cents on the ads. We're always going to have the ads. It's always going to be there. It's like driving down the highway and expecting never to see a billboard. It's just not going to happen. So let's dial back in to Google Analytics 4 and why it's important for you, why you may want to start paying attention to it right now instead of saying it's a problem for another day. All right. So this change is scarier than Y2K for most coaches and consultants, people who aren't super techie in their business or don't have a team to handle this for them. Because when you log into your Google Analytics account, if you just have a Universal Analytics or GA3 property set up, then you're going to get this bar at the top of the screen that says, hey, we are not sending data for this property after July 1st, 2023. 4 short months away that we have to get GA4 in order and tracking and doing the things we need it to do. So, no time like the present. Now, right in there, if you haven't set up GA4 yet, you just click in the bottom left of the screen, that little gear to see your admin options. And in that second column at the top, it says GA4 Setup Assistant. There are videos, there are tons of things on YouTube. You can find videos all day long showing you how to do this. I'm just telling you, you need to do it. If you have a developer you work with or a tech person you work with, or even a marketing or ad agency company that you work with, that's kind of how I got into all this, is running the agency side of my business and doing ads for other people. And you can't profitably run Facebook ads or Google ads and not have tracking in place to see what's working and to tell the platform when you're successful in the thing you're asking it to do. So back to the analytics. Google Analytics, specifically if you're going to run Google ads, those two platforms talk to each other and rely on one another for data about events, conversions, and gathering data for audience. Now, the cool thing about GA4 is that it is specifically set up to work with fewer and sometimes no cookies. So as we move more and more toward cookieless tracking, not tracking, but tracking, this is already set up for future needs. So the identifiers that are in place are anonymized. So it's not like you have this is your user ID. There is something that tracks your browser for 2 to 3 weeks at a time, and then it replaces the data, but they don't know who you are. They have a general sense of a broad category of the sites that you visit. And it's data modeling. So it's using AI, using algorithms to put consumers into groups with other similar consumers for advertisers. So it's giving the advertisers what they need. It's giving bigger pools of people, so that can, in theory, reduce your CPMs and your overall costs. In theory, we'll see how it all plays out over time. But it's also helping to improve that expectation of privacy for the consumer or the person who's scrolling on their phone or scrolling on their laptop. So when you log in, you're going to click that gear. You're going to go to the Setup Assistant. I recommend doing this with Google Tag Manager because it's kind of how it's set up to be the easiest way to do it. And with that, if you have Google Tag Manager in place, it's super easy to do this. The instructions are right there of how to set it up, and it's already on all your pages. So there's not a whole lot to do, and it just starts tracking data. And then once you're getting data for a week or 2 or 30 days, depending on how much traffic you get, then you can go in and start setting up events beyond the standard events the GA4 does for you, identify which things are conversions, all that kind of stuff. And you can even, with Google Tag Manager, you can put a little recorder on and go in and identify buttons that get clicked and things like that to create events as you're mirroring the customer journey through your marketing. So that's really cool too. I've had GA4 on my sites for about 2 years now, and I just recently started setting up my events and conversions because all of my tools still use Universal Analytics. So this is something to be considered as well. If you can put a Google Tag Manager tracking code into whatever tools you're using, then that might make it easier to make the transition for now while we're waiting for some of these tools to catch up. Like, I don't think Kajabi has a solution yet. They've said they will before the deadline, but it's a little bit nerve-wracking if you want to go ahead and switch over and start tracking. And Shopify has promised an integration this coming month in March. So that is, fingers crossed, going to work for a lot of Shopify people. And it just depends on the tool that you're using. I don't know about some of the other funnel builders. Right now, I'm just using Google Tag Manager with my Samcart account. So I don't know if they're going to do something further as well. I can't remember if they have AI. They have an API with the Universal Analytics or not. I'm sure that, some of the other big ones like ClickFunnels and some of those guys, I'm sure they'll have something. But the bottom line is you want to know your numbers. Without having this in place, all of a sudden on July 1st, you're not going to be getting any of that data anymore. So it's not sending any new data, and all the things you have out there are just like useless little pieces of code that aren't doing anything to help your business or help give you clarity on what's happening. And that's really the purpose of all of this. We work so hard and so intentionally to deliver rock star service or transformation for our clients as coaches and as consultants and small businesses. We value the relationships that we have with our clients. And when we have a very streamlined marketing approach, we may only have one or two programs that we offer, and we have a sort of a barn of content built around it, right? Where we have these buckets of content and all those things. Well, having something like Google Analytics lets you know which pieces of content are drawing the attention of your audience, what you should do more of, what you should do less of, what you should double down on or dig into or do another layer of, right? This can be life altering for your business when you really start paying attention to these things. So as I said earlier, I am not a coder. I am not a specialist in Google Analytics 4 or in setting that up for businesses. If you are allergic to tech and you don't want to do it, find a professional to do it for you. You can probably find someone in some of the groups you're in on Facebook or on YouTube. I'm sure you can, as well as in forums and, Reddit, Quora, things like that. But it's really not that hard to set it up yourself. If you want to dive in and sort of get over the tech fears, just follow the directions and do it. If you have a friend that needs this info, that needs to understand it's important that they start paying attention to this now, please share the video with them, because I'm kind of on a mission to help other coaches and consultants know, hey, all that thing we've been talking about for the last 2 years, it's coming. And it's coming July 1st. We have 4 months to make sure the data is tracking, to give us the insights we need into our marketing. So that is the point right now. I will also say, if you go in and just set up a new property, if you haven't been using Google Analytics and you go set it up, GA4 is the default property. It's what you're going to get now. So you can just go ahead and follow the directions and set that up. Now, I'm scrolling through my notes to see if I've missed anything. I did say this isn't my specialty, right? So find someone if you need a professional. I do cover basic GA4 setup in my flagship program, my flagship hybrid course group coaching program, and in my higher level mastermind one-on-one hybrid. So, and for both of those programs, and of course in the mastermind coaching program, we go a little bit more in depth. But in both of those programs, I do cover it. I just don't cover it in sort of my entry-level programs, but it's a little scary for people, and we want to keep things light and fun. I teach people the simple way to do Facebook ads and maybe add on some Google ads to that if you want to. And then we get into much bigger things with mindset and building your business and creating a lifestyle business that is profitable and supports that prosperous future that you want. And it's not about the data that you collect when you get these analytics tracking pieces in place. It's about what you do with it. So that's where I come in, because I work with businesses to help streamline their marketing and dial in their offers. And this is taking all the numbers and all the things, the reports that you're getting from that analytics, putting it in context, finding the patterns and figuring out what it means to you and your business so you know how to interpret it and how to apply that information to get better results from your marketing in the future. So if you would like to talk about working with me and adding $5,000 to $50,000 a month in revenue to your business every single month, then just click the link in the description below. I would love to have a conversation with you, see if we're fit to work together, or if you would be a great fit for one of the programs that I'm enrolling in the very near future. So click that link below. Make sure you subscribe, click the bell so you get notified when new videos drop every week, usually on Mondays. And sometimes I'm going to be dropping some surprise ones in now that I am feeling my best again post-surgery from the holiday period, I'm wanting to get some additional content out there to really help people. So subscribe, click the bell. Thank you so much for the time and watching this today, and I will see you on the next video.